Welcome back. Abimbola Agboluaje is still here with us in the studio as we continue the discussion on assets declaration, of course, and we're also looking at corruption for public officials. Thank you so much for staying with us in the studio. So let's focus now on, the incoming administration, as I said before that break. The president-elect is really taking a very strong stance on assets declaration by public officials, and the conversation in the last couple of minutes has also focused on how corruption as well, plays its own major part. Let's take your perspective on that.
Yeah, like I've been trying to explain, looking at the political system, how it encourages corruption, trying to change practices and policies, governance processes, those are far more important than asset declaration. Asset declaration is focusing on, they steal the money successfully, then we'll try and find it out and see, compare what they may have now to what they had before they came into government. We will need to do a lot more to...
Okay, so in looking at it, how easy do you think it will be to stop corruption?
The good thing about where Nigeria is now is that compared to either the Yar'Adua government or the outgoing government, the white government has a stronger mandate, it's more coherent, so it has the political capital to take on very tough reforms in Nigeria. But it has very little window within which to start initiating these reforms and give people, both domestic actors and international actors, the signal that it's serious. So there are things it's going to do long term, there are things it will do in short or immediate term. Like everyone has been saying, if the president is able to appoint a slim cabinet composed of people who can do the job, then identify key policies they need to implement, that would have won him that would have done like 40% of the job. It's going to be a battle. Resistant people just want to get into government and make it incoherent and start a free-for-all. But that's where to start.
But looking at where they're coming in a meeting or a system that's already on ground. Yeah. They need to do an overhauling.
Yes.
So in terms of overhauling, we're looking at, for instance, some key sectors like the oil, the petroleum resources now, Ministry of Petroleum Resources, Finance, and the rest of it, might not kick off until, in the medium to long term. So in between that, what are we expecting to happen?
Well, the good thing about corruption in Nigeria, in quotes, because it's not just corruption, it's a system about organized politics and all that. The good thing about it is that no matter the sector you turn to, education, health, oil and gas, even the financial system, it's not too difficult to know what the problems are. What you need to do in the immediate to medium term is once you delineate your goals, is to start building the momentum, public communications, convincing people, doing the internal political work you need to do to get it reformed passed.
What about the agencies? I know you mentioned the fact that the EFCC was kind of dated. They had so many things that they had to deal with. Yes. We also have the ICPC, and we have also the Code of Conduct Bureau. Are they well funded, first and foremost, to carry out this task, this very huge task that they have before them?
Well, there was a time they were very well funded. What really happened? Have they been able to change Nigeria's culture of political corruption, administrative corruption? No, they can't be the solution. You first have to carry out reforms of government, reforms of politics, but the immediate things you need to do in the long term for them to be able to do their jobs. So they won't be the solution. Okay, let's talk about concrete examples. I'll keep saying these. Some policies just leave billions of dollars on the table for people to take away and do whatever they like with. Unlike Sanusi, the Emir of Kano, the current Emir of Kano said during the first subsidy debate, the person who's able to steal 3-4 billion has enough money to corrupt everybody else. So don't overload yourself as a president if you want to battle corruption. Don't overload the police, don't overload the EFCC. Make their job easier by removing all these billions on the table with reform. I'll give you examples that we know, even from Nigeria. When you had NITEL as a government monopoly, as a government company, the government has to give it money every year. Same thing with the old Prt2 or NEPA. Now, no matter how corrupt you are, if you are the Minister of Telecommunications, you won't be able to go to MTN and ask for 40% of the budget of their mast. They won't give it to you. So that's taking billions off the table. No, you know, every sector you look at in Nigeria, there are billions on the table to be taken away. This thing should be taken off with reforms. Housing, the way we try to intervene in the housing system, it's riddled with corruption. And what to do is not esoteric or quantum physics. It's been done elsewhere. So let's use reforms, and it's a big way to reduce corruption in Nigeria.
So looking at reforms now, should we have extra agencies, created, more agencies created to, kind of support the ones we already have now? Or do we clearly delineate the roles again and let these agencies we have already on ground begin to function independently? Because you pointed out they always still have to depend on allocation coming from the federal government, which is the public sector. So should they now become independent, stay on their own, generate their own, funds or revenue, as the case may be, to drive their agencies?
Yeah, definitely. Some agencies generate revenue, some will. But what you need to do is to make sure that you give them clear mandates and clear systems of auditing performance and punishing non-compliance. Because if agencies don't perform, it's not because the talents are not in the country to make it perform. It's because of the way it's managed. I'll give you an example. You know what? I'll keep saying this again. You need to delineate. Don't attack corruption as a moral issue. Think of what you're trying to achieve. In the health sector, in the education sector, you're trying to make systems perform, improve the lives of Nigerians. What are the impediments? Study them. Do what you need to do. In tax administration, look at Ghana, and I can think of some other policies. What they actually did to reduce corruption in the tax system is to declare an amnesty. There are companies in Nigeria and probably in most places of the world who don't pay taxes. They rather bribe someone in the tax agencies. And it's a very common relationship. The guy is getting, let's say 300 million is due to the government, and someone's getting 20 million to look the other way and gets the government gets a system going whereby it pays the government less, but someone gets more money. What usually happens at times is that, to use the word, the company becomes an ATM to that guy, the FIRS or whatever it's named. So if you declare an amnesty, what you're doing is that guy will come to you, I'm not going to pay my taxes, I'm ready to comply, you won't punish him. So someone stops to exploit him.
So that's what you're talking about, whistleblowing now.
Well, you may not, what you may incorporate whistleblowing also, because you may not compel him to tell you what he's been doing before, but this being a Buhari government, maybe that should be incorporated.
Yeah, because we know that the Code of Conduct Bureau actually, tries to encourage, most of these institutions actually try to encourage whistleblowing, yeah. But how effective has it even been?
I keep saying, if corruption is too much in the system, anybody who is party, who knows about a corrupt deal, is probably a party. He hasn't got an interest to blow the whistle. And if people don't have confidence in the administration, in the institutions that will punish or investigate, they won't blow any whistle. So we need a much broader policy governance reforms to make even whistleblowing useful. And I'm big on something that I'll say again: punishing consequences is far more reliable, and that's political. Let's take some very notorious examples from the Jonathan regime. Someone conducts a test for employment into a ministry, and people end up dying. No one was sacked. If you sack people for minor infractions, big infractions, and there's a way you can build the way your administration runs to that kind of punitive measures. Let me give some other examples. I have to be careful not to name agencies. But assuming you want to get a passport, when you have a system whereby maybe a driver's license or passport, people don't, you can't get it quickly. You need to leave your job for 3 days to get it. You're encouraging corruption. But when you give people to the right to complain and look, you should be able to get your passport or license in 10 days. If you don't, complain. And that guy who's delaying it because he wants something will get queried. His boss will get queried. And look, your office is not performing. These are ways you can audit performance and punish people. So if someone gets, punished, or someone gets to lose his job, not because he's been caught stealing money, but because the agency supervises has been shown not to be working. But you don't know it's not working because it's corrupt. But you don't argue. The corruption is far more difficult to track down. But the evidence of non-performance, it's on the table.
Abimbola, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us this morning on the program. Well, that's all on today's edition of the program. Thank you for watching. I'm Harriet Agbinyi. See you tomorrow at the same time. Bye for now.